Good morning, everyone. Seeking the divine blessings of His Holiness, Jagatrudhu Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji. I, Dr. Sindhu Bharat, have the distinct honor of serving as Master of Ceremony for this inauguration. I extend a warm welcome to Research Conference 1.0 2025. We are absolutely delighted to see many distinguished researchers from academics and industry gathered here today. Your presence underscores the importance of research contribution and the collective commitment we share in advancing knowledge in respective fields. Let us offer a prayer led by Ms. Priya. गौरी कन्हैया विजागवन्दितनी सुजनरा पूरिवनी गजना बीडोबी आशाङ्कुशधर परम पवित्रा मूषिकावाहना मुनिजन प्रेमा पाशाङ्कुशधर परम पवित्रा मूषिकावाहना मुनिजन प्रेमा मोददीनिन्नय पादवतोरो साधुवन्दितनी आदरविन्दनि सरसिजनामश्री पुरन्दरविठलना निराकरिणुपति वरदय माಡು गजवदना बीडु गौरी तनय त्रिजागवन्दितनी सुजनरा पोरेवनी गजवदना बीडु. Thank you for the social ranking. Today is a particularly special day for us, as we have the distinct honor of welcoming a truly remarkable individual, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director, CFTRI, Mysore, as our chief guest to our conference. I request Deputy Gupta to welcome the chief guest. Join me in extending a very warm welcome to our guest of the honor, Dr. D. Suresh, Director, Technical Education Division, JSS Mahavidyapita. I request team management to welcome our director. Extend warm welcome to our Honorable VC, Dr. A.N. Santosh Kumar. I request Dean QA to welcome our VC. Welcome our respected registrar, Professor Dr. S.A. Dhanraj to this conference. I request Associate Dean Research, Dr. Suryanarayanan sir to welcome the registrar. I also welcome Dr. C. Natarajan, Principal and Dean, Engineering and Technology to this conference. I request Dr. Vijay Sikar to welcome him. Extend warm welcome to curator of this program, Dean Research, Dr. V.M. Manjunath Aradhya. I request Placement Officer Dr. Pradeep to welcome our Dean Research. A hearty welcome to university officers, esteemed deans, HODs, dedicated research supervisors and faculty members, staff, scholars, and all our valued guests. We are so pleased to have you join us. I now invite Dean Research Dr. V.N. Manjunath Aradhya to provide an overview of the conference.
Blessings is Holiness, Guru Shri Shiva, and going his local state is Holiness, Guru Shri Shiva Kira in Passover. I feel delighted and honored, truly blessed to be standing in front of you in this beautiful morning to to give you an overview of Research Conference 1.0. No doubt, this is a sort of unique conference. The main idea came from our director, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for this wonderful idea, bringing all the research scholars of basic science and technology units to have sort of giving sort of what knowledge in this platform and to know the cutting edge research that's been happening with respect to the basic science and technology research scholars. We started this initiative in October 2024, and we called for the abstract submissions initially, and then we also called for the full paper length submissions. And of course, the really magnificent thing is that we received more than 175 submissions from all the disciplines, engineering and technology, sciences, and management studies. Out of that, we could able to what select around 160 submissions. First of all, I would like to again have to thank the technical program committee members for their unwavering support. That really what made us things smooth. They identify the external reviewers, internals, and so probably critical reviews have been happened. And we have checked with the plagiarism, AI content, everything, and then we sent all things to the research scholars. They updated the thing, and so probably now we have around 160 submissions. We have divided into two categories. One, the oral presentations of more something like 100, and rest all the post documentation. Coming to the technical session that been happening with 2 days, today and tomorrow. So probably it's a jam-packed day, starting from now to 5:30 evening. So probably we have 5 keynotes. One for first with the director, sir, followed by another in the afternoon 2 to 3 p.m. from the Dr. Balgarakar, and Dr. Edo Paul will be talking tomorrow at 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and followed by Dr. Ramesh and Dr. Adi at 2 to 3:30. And we have what technical sessions being arranged, happening with 5 different tracks here in the higher sciences week. And also what we have a poster tomorrow at starting from 11 to 1 o'clock. And very important thing, what we have to what tell is that in the post-conference selected papers will be published in the here what the publications partners, and also what we are bringing all those papers in the indexing in Scopus. So hearty congratulations to all the contributors, and thank you so much for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request all the dignitaries on the stage to please step forward to begin the lamp lighting ceremony. Heartfelt thanks to Vijay for meeting the topics with degree. I invite Honorable to deliver introductory remarks.
Sir, very good morning to everyone. At the outset, I submit my most respectful pronouns. Guru to speak of the holiness, Jagat Guru Shishila Dish and the Swamiji and seek his divine blessings. Chief guest of today's inaugural function, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, Director, CFTRI Mysuru, Dr. V. Suresh, Director, Technical Education Division, JSF Sita, also the Pro-Chancellor of JSF DHER, and also the newly formed University at Noida, JSF University. My colleagues, University, Dr. S. A. Dhanaraj, C. Nataraju, men behind this trust research conference, Dr. Manjunath Aradhya and Dr. Surma Raina, Dean Research and Associate Dean Research, all the deans, university officers, heads of the departments, all the other professors, my colleagues, most importantly, all the research scholars and supervisors who have come here. As part of the inauguration of the research conference 1.0. I'm extremely happy that this conference has been inaugurated by Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh. Our own Dr. Annapurna Singh, because she is from Mysore. She herself is a eminent researcher, published many papers in very important journals, and we're very happy that she accepted our invitation and she was here for the inauguration. Thank you. Coming to the conference itself, as the Dean Research said, we were trying to analyze and probably review the NAC and NIRF metrics and the scores we have got. Some of the things where we thought improvement is immediately required was in the area of research. Are we not doing enough in terms of research? Yes, we are motivating our faculty members and research scholars by organizing various workshops on research methodologies, academic writing, ethical publishing. One of the questions that came up was, we have almost 300 plus faculty members, 250 research scholars, given 2 publications per year, we should cost 1,000. But it's around 300, 350. So that means there is a cost concern. At this point of time, our beloved director, V. Suresh, suggested they should come out with a conference like this. This is a unique conference because this is not open for outsiders. This is only for our research scholars and faculty members. And the first edition of it, I'm very sure, sir, with your guidance, we are going to have many more such conferences.
We are also providing research fellowship to full-time scholars. We're also giving seed money to some to people where we think there is going to be high impact of such research which can be converted into patents, etc. We are also recognizing and awarding faculty and research scholars for publishing in reputed journals as well. We are also giving financial support for conference registration and also for travel. We have provided them with access to digital research databases, journals, and plagiarism checking tools. But in spite of all these, there requires definitely an improvement. So when we started discussing this, then one of the important points which emerged out of this particular meeting was we should come out of the teaching the institution mindset to a university mindset. There has to be a research culture that needs to be promoted among the research scholars and also the faculty members. Everybody acknowledges that research and innovation is what brings the reputation, the rankings for the university. So therefore, we thought this conference is definitely going to address this issue in promoting the culture of research and innovation at the university. This is also a platform where research scholars, faculty can come together on a single platform, which was not happening. Everyone goes to different conferences, publishes their paper, then comes back. Nobody knows what work is happening at the university level unless you're really interested. So this particular conference is definitely going to help the collaborative interdisciplinary research at the university. And we are also eagerly waiting to see what kind of research output we will see at the end of 2 days. This is also an encouragement for more and more research scholars and students to participate in the conference. Various keynote addresses and the eminent people who are coming here today, 5 of them, 5 keynote addresses he said. So they are also going to talk about the way research is going to be conducted, which needs to be conducted also. What type of problems should be selected, how to select the problems, how to go through the literature review. There are a lot of things which, especially today with AI, what are the AI tools that are required for and how it can be used for your research work. And the university has its own goal. This conference and research scholars can align with the university goals. For example, we are now working on sustainability goals of the UN 17 SDGs. So the research scholars can start aligning themselves with these 17 goals. The vision and mission can be matched with the kind of publications which are coming out of this conference. And this also gives them a confidence. All these scholars, they get a confidence to go and face the outside world. When you are presenting in front of your own people, you get that particular confidence because you get the positive feedback, that is extremely important. The feedback is necessary for improving. So you can go outside, present papers there, and most importantly, it's also for sharing the dissemination of knowledge that one has over a period of time in this particular context. This is also an opportunity to provide a professional development opportunity for each of the research scholars and faculty and celebrate the research achievements of some of the faculty members and the students. What next is the question. This after this conference, what? The university is basically trying to establish research groups which are focused on high impact areas such as artificial intelligence, semiconductor technology, renewable energy, electric vehicle mobility, biotechnology, healthcare, just name a few. The university is also planning to invest in advanced research laboratories and computational facilities. And university intends to strengthen the industry university partnership for technology transfer and commercialization. Research and innovation can increase the reputation of the university through recognition. You get higher rankings, there is research productivity, your citations improve, the university's overall citations will improve, and people also look at the impact factors of various articles that are published. With new technologies and market forces which are evolving very fast, I think our research and innovation also should keep up that particular pace. People are now doing research, not that company is doing research here. 300 and on, papers only in Stoker. That too in Q1 and Q2, more than 75% of the articles are in Q1 and Q2. They're definitely doing. But the research should be in relevant areas. What is relevant 10 years now has become redundant today. So we should all work towards redundant, this one should not be taken up. Only relevant areas research should be done. And we should build up legacy for university. When people talk of university, they should recognize this university as university known for research and innovation. The startup ecosystem, we have our own step. So some of the ideas which come out of this particular research conference can be taken to the next level, taken to step, see whether it is possible to nurture them and come out with some kind of a product as well. The whole idea is through this particular conference, in the coming days, we want to take the university to the next level. Starting with the keynote address by today, there are 5 keynote addresses by very eminent people. My earnest request to all my young friends here, my colleagues here, is to actively participate. Generally, in these kind of conferences, what happens? People present their paper and then just leave. That should not happen. I request each one of you to actively participate, listen to what the keynote speakers are the right? And also participate and see what your colleagues and other research scholars have to offer in this particular conference. Right? That's the only way we can learn. And the first this one we have started today, and I'm very sure we are going to go a long way with the support of the management and also the directions from our beloved Suresh. I'm sure this university is going to go a long way in terms of research and innovation in years to come. I wish this particular research conference all the very best and that the interactions be very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable guidance and increasing words, sir. It is my privilege to introduce Chief Guest of this conference, Dr. Sridevi Annapurnasinghe. Dr. Sridevi is an accomplished food technologist and active researcher, has taken over as director of Mysuru-based Senior Deep Research and Development Institution (CSDRI) in Jan 2021. After passing out from CSDRI with MSc in Food Technology in 1988, Dr. Sridevi worked with Kisan Products Limited, Bangalore for a short stint before returning to alma mater in 1991. She grew up to the position of Chief Scientist and Head of Department of Protein Chemistry and Technology before moving to the position of Director. She received her doctoral degree in Food Science under the supervision of Dr. A.G. Appurao in 1996-98. She had been with the Institute of Microbiology, Hanover, Germany on that fellowship. In the career spanning over 3 decades, she worked intensively on both basic and applied aspects of food science. Significant contributions were made towards unfolding protein structure, function, activity relationships. Proteins and enzymes are food ingredients, nutraceuticals from traditional food and technologies for combating malnutrition. Some of these technologies that are transferred to industry include amylase-rich energy food, soy protein hydrolysates, heat-resistant sesame seeds, and supplementary food for severely malnourished children, and so on. Over 40 entrepreneurs have taken to these technologies so far. During 12th five-year plan period, as principal investigator of the Wellness Food Project, an array of innovative products were brought out targeted to every sector of population. Further, the pilot-level malnutrition intervention studies were undertaken during the same period with the participation of over 200 Anganwadi children in order to assess the efficacy of supplementary foods developed by CFTRN. She has published over 50 manuscripts in peer-reviewed journals, and she holds a total of 11 patents to her credit, including 5 US patents. That has continually encouraged key students for doctoral thesis, along with over 40 postgraduate students so far. A gold medalist in graduation from University of Mysore, Dr. Sridevi has represented as a young scientist fellow, Hanover, Germany in 2000, INS Crack Fellow in 2006, Indo-Finland Exchange Program in 2018, Speaker in Knowledge Summit at Lyon, France 2019, and so on. She is a recipient of Dr. Rajamal P. Devdas Memorial Award conferred by Nutrition Society of India. Dr. Sridevi has been the governing council member of National Agri-Biotechnology Institute, expert DBT committee member on public health and nutrition, BIS committee, SAD 40, and Board of Studies of Mysore University. She is also chairperson for FSSAI committees. She has been the life member of the major professional bodies such as Association of Food Scientists and Technologists, Society of Biological Chemists, Nutrition Society of India, Association of Microbiologists of India, so on. She is nominated as one of the member of governing body of CSIR. She is honorary fellow of Karnataka Science and Technology Academy and fellow of Association of Food Scientists and Technologists. It was indeed a great pleasure for me to introduce you to the guest gathering. May I now request you to address the gathering. Hello, Namaskara. A very good morning to all present. Dr. V. Suresh, Dr. Santosh Kumar, Dr. Dhanraj, Dr. C. Nagaraju, Dr. Aradhya, all the dignitaries of the school, faculty, and students. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here with you today. And instead of that very extensive biodata that was read out, probably one thing was missed, that I was a student of demonstration school, which is your neighbor. And uh, even as I was coming here, I was recollecting my school days when we would sneak out for a churmuri or a totapuri mango that used to be in those carts being sold. Today, being in the food business, I'm a little bit scared to eat street foods, but from those days, they were the tastiest. And another memory is that there used to be only one bus that went from CBS to CBS called route number 14. And it was always packed with people with bags and tiffin carriers. We rarely got to get into the bus because it was so full. And it was JC boys who helped us because they could whistle like the conductor and stop the bus till we could get in anyway. So anyway, today I'm happy to be here and thank the organizers for their very kind invitation to call me. And I think it's a wonderful idea to have a intra organizational seminar like you are having, so that often we travel all over the world and we make friends, but forget to say hello to our neighbors. So probably this gives an opportunity to all of you within your own campus to understand who's doing what their names are, and what field they are working in, to interact, definitely make friends, but also to collaborate. So I congratulate the organizers for this wonderful idea that they have come up with. So if you look at STEM in India, also there are around 35-40% who have chosen
However, given the kind of work that is going on, it is still low and it is purely academic. So I am indeed delighted that with an engineering background, many people are taking up research. It is required many, I am sure JC is among the top colleges in Karnataka where the students get a very hefty package when they are in their final year and they don't choose to study further for a few years and maybe then go for an MBA or something like that. So even though research opportunities are there, even my daughter did the same thing. She's a software engineer in Bangalore. She earns more than me. I'm at the end of my career and she's at the beginning, but that's the way it is. So, to have research as a focus, I think it is very, very important, especially in a country like ours, because there are so many grassroots issues that have been left unaddressed. And it is only research that can bring about solutions. So, definitely, this is a very good initiative. You may think that when I'm getting a hefty package, why should I even come into PhD? And but there are a certain number of students who want to go further deep into the subject, and it is these people who are going to make a big difference and bring about even policy change in the country. So let me just tell you a few of these traits which I have thought about because I also did my PhD a few decades back. And often I used to think, why did I even come into this line? I could have also done my engineering or medicine. Why did I not choose to do that? Often in those days, we would go with what our teachers and parents did, but that apart, curiosity is something that drives many of us. And those of us fortunate enough to have not lost this curiosity of our childhood, I think we would like to continue the research. The second probably factor I may say is that you require a lot of patience, irrespective of what, I mean, if you look at research, many of us think that with the sudden finding that we get, it is very novel, but often to convince our peers. Again, let me tell you, this is the only field probably where your peers have to give you the green flag and say, yes, good work done. And all of you who have recently been in academics and passed out of masters or bachelors would understand that it's not easy to compete with peers. They're always trying to pin you down because they want to be at the top. So to overcome those hurdles and to be appreciated is a high in itself. You don't need any drug for that. But it requires a lot of patience. Why? To convince them, you have to repeatedly do the experiments again and again and again and again so that you are pretty sure of what it is that you want to tell. So, not many people have that kind of patience and often choose to leave it aside. But then, is it really important? Just think about maybe 4 years ago, we were very badly affected with COVID. During that time, I think our country did not even have enough masks. Forget about hospitals or vaccines or other equipment that was required to combat this deadly virus. But thanks to the kind of science and technology foundation that was existing in this country, many scientists came up to the challenge and in a very short while they were able to come up with vaccines, we were able to come up with masks, we were able to even come up with hospitals within 24 hours. It could be set up. Even within CSAR, which has 37 labs across the country, whether it is Road Research Institute, whether it is interdisciplinary, whether it is CFTRI, whether it is XYZ lab, all working on different aspects of science and technology, were doing testing. At one time, to help the government of Karnataka, CFTRI was testing 4,000 samples per day just to know if somebody is affected with COVID or not. So it is not like the scientists or the students who were working as part of this were trained for that. They were not trained. But just having a good science and technology background makes us adapt very easily applying that. And that is what is great about science or technology or engineering is no matter which part of the world you are in, if your methodology is right, if you have defined the parameters correctly, anybody can reproduce the same results over and over again. And that is what India was able to do. And probably initially, though we were totally overwhelmed with the kind of challenges it poses, there came a time when India was exporting vaccines all over the world and saving lives, which is indeed a great moment. So, this is what research is about. And therefore, it is a great decision that JSS has taken to see that research is going to be done. I would also like to give you a few examples of my own life and my journey. I studied in demonstration school till the 12th standard. And we had such wonderful teachers, especially in life sciences, that I choose biology as my career path. And fortunately, I got into CFTRI to do my master's, but and then got into the food line, which is more specialized in biology itself. So teachers do play a great role as our inspirational models. But when I got into CFTRI as a junior scientist, I got my chance to do PhD. Let me tell you, being from Mysore and being a young person who was very keen to think that the world was waiting for me to conquer it, that is the kind of confidence that DMS gives you when you leave the school. I was rather disappointed that I got into CFTRI because I thought I will live here, I will die over here, I will never get out of Mysore. I'm like the typical frog in the well. But I got the chance to do PhD, and it was like a sandwich program where I was sent to Germany. And the very first thing that my professor told me was, "What do you want to work on?" Now, having been in India in school, and typically I was receiving more than actually suggesting, even though it was far better in the US, I was kind of lost. I thought I would be told, but I had to come up with a problem myself. And I was given a week's time, go to the library, look at it, and it was very fervent because I had a very limited time. I had exactly 1.5 years to finish whatever I'm doing over there and come back. So it was a very challenging thing. But then I suggested a problem, and then my professor took me to meet his friend. And that is what impressed me the most because he was the director of a sugar institute. And he said, "Look, in Europe, we make sugar crystals from sugar beet, not from sugar cane like in India. And sugar beet has a lot of pectin in it, which is present between the cells. And that gives it that texture. So there must be, and this is very difficult to extract the juice because of the presence of this particular substance called pectin, which is a complex carbohydrate. So, to extract more and more of the juice to make sugar, it is necessary to heat sugar beet till 70 degrees so that it becomes more pliable and then it can be extracted. But having said that, there are certain microorganisms which would be present even at that high temperature. And if we can get one or two of those in pure cultures, it is possible that they will produce an enzyme called pectinase. Now, pectinase is an enzyme that breaks down pectin. It is industrially important enzyme. Why? Because you want to extract juice from grapes or from pomegranate or any fruit. Pectin is the one that lyses during ripening, and so a very hard texture of banana becomes a soft texture in the ripened fruit. So I can get more juice. Even if I get 5% more yield of the juice, I'm making that much more money, and the wastage is less. The byproducts are less. So commercially, pectinase has a very great value. So this set me thinking as to how we should go about choosing our problem even. You start with what is important to the country. You start with where the gaps are, where the challenges are, and then look how we can go about approaching the problem. So then, how do I collect these samples? So there was a factory called, there are only two factories making sugar in Germany. One is called the North Sugar Factory, the other one is called the South Sugar Factory. So one is in the south, the other one is in the north. So we went to the North Sugar Factory and we collected the sample, which was at 70 degrees. I collected the residue, I collected the raw material, and I collected the juice. Then brought it back to the lab. Now, I was not a microbiologist. I was in Kisan products. Before I came to CFTRI, I was making jam, jellies, tomato ketchup, and so on. So I had to learn microbiology. I had to learn how to plate organisms and so on. But it is possible. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And it was not just because of the training, it was the curiosity, it was the idea itself which excited. And then we got a particular organism, a bacteria, which was capable of producing a specific enzyme that was only releasing a trisaccharide, which means that that can also become the raw material for making novel sugars. Again, why is that important? Novel sugars are important because they are required for not just sweetness but also to produce bulkiness in a food product. So when you drink a juice, if there is no sugar, it looks like water, tastes like water. The minute you put 1 or 2 spoons of sugar into that juice, you get the taste. It enhances the taste. So when somebody is diabetic and they cannot have sugar, you can have these oligosaccharides, what we call them, the trisaccharides, tetra, penta, which will add bulk to it, but they will not uh, be able to be metabolized in your body to release glucose. So there are tremendous applications that are possible. Again, I was talking about repetition and how you keep doing an experiment again and again. I had to leave Germany on the 1st of April 1998 to come back to India. On somewhere around 15th of March, I had to do a Western blot and send it for sequencing to see the N-terminal sequence. And I was told that even the water that you use is so important that you have to only use quartz distilled water. Now, typically we have distillation units which are made of quartz, but ultimately we collect it in glass containers. So the purpose is lost. You will not believe it. I had a small child, but somehow Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 1 week, because I had only a small quartz, something like this, little double of this size. I collected water and, cursed myself. Why am I in this line even? I should have done better things. I should have listened to my mother, my brother, blah, blah, blah. But finally it was done. And then the Western lot was done. I had to cut out and send it to another institute because our institute did not have that facility. And we also cut out somewhere like a blank sample in another portion and sent it so that the baseline could be set kind of. It was like a blank sample. And after 2 days comes the result. And the associate professor who was working alongside me to see that I don't mess up often because I had limited time, he just came dancing into the lab. And seeing his infection, I also started dancing, though I didn't know why. And then he says, do you know this is the first time in the history of the Institute of Microbiology, University of Hanover, we have got a fax from that institute in Braunschweig which said that why did you even send a blank sample? Because your sample was so clean that up to 30 amino acids we were able to sequence. And you don't need any kind of ganja or anything. It is so infectious, it becomes addictive. And probably that is why we get into research and we want to do this again and again because you want to relive that kind of feeling. And yeah, the same feeling you get when you submit your thesis also. Because always, in school, we are something like 50, 60 students in the class, and then maybe become 30 in BSc, and then we become maybe 20 in MSc. And I'm talking about my time now. I have no idea how many students are there in the classroom. But finally, when it comes to PhD, it's 1:1, guide and student. So the guide is fed up with the student, and the student is also fed up with the guide by the time you are reaching your end. And so when you are actually submitting your thesis, that is when you find how important the problem was, how important the inputs that the guide gave were, and how you want to continue in that light and keep on publishing. So I think I can go on and on, but if you look at our country also, there are several problems that do exist at the grassroots. And we are the ones who are in this research who can probably bring about change. And change at the grassroots level, if all the government, whatever they are sloganing, it could be doubling the farmers' income, it could be increasing exports, it could be skilled India. All of these are possible by the few people who are able to do the research. So I'll also talk a little bit about, I'll take you back to the 1940s. Many or probably all of you have been born post-independence. So, I talk about the 1940s when there was the World War II and then there was the Bengal famine. Between 2 to 4 billion people died in Bengal because of the famine, not because India was not growing rice or the staples, but it was all given to the British soldiers who were fighting in the war. So our people kind of starved to death. Now, when India became independent, the thought came that there should be an institute which is able to preserve food by increasing its shelf life and also reduce post-harvest losses. So that is how, and thanks to the royal family of Mysore, CFTRA was born in this beautiful city of Mysore. And the very first problem that was given was how to make infant food from buffalo milk. I have told this story many times, but I love it. I'm going to tell it one more time. And we did not have sufficient cow milk. And every milk powder that was in the market was coming to imports. And India was already impoverished and did not have that kind of foreign exchange. So we also did not have cow's milk with us. None of the multinationals who were marketing milk powder were even thinking about buffalo milk. Is it a problem? Yes. Why? Because buffalo milk has much higher fat content. It is having a higher protein content. When a very young child drinks that milk in the stomach, in the acid, when it curdles, the curd thickness is so high that it is impossible for the baby to digest it. Secondly, milk was being milked into copper containers. And generally, cow's milk has around 87% water. When you are removing this water, the copper that is leached into the milk the concentration goes up, and that can become toxic to babies. So usually the containers were covered with contaminated hay, and a lot of bacteria and other organisms can come into the milk, and that can cause microbial harm. So all of these were the challenges. And CFTRI was asked whether you can make infant food using buffalo milk. The scientists went, saw, observed, and they filled the copper vessels with tiff, and they gave those containers to the milk men or women to take out the milk. That was put with a lid rather than hay, brought to the institute. It was skimmed to remove the fat. Buffer salts were added. Whatever was deficient as compared to cow's milk was added. It could be essential amino acids, it could be some of the vitamins and so on. Those were added. And then the protein content was brought down to a proper level and it was fried. So this gave birth to the first technology that was marketed by the Anand Milk Producers Union Limited, which today I'm sure in this hall nobody can claim they do not or have not heard the name Amul. So Amul was kind of born in Mysuru, which we can feel happy about. But at the same time, it is not just the technology, but it is also the marketing, the branding, everything is important. I'm only speaking about the tech. And this is what research has the capability for. I'm talking about this example because you have so many milkmen today whose livelihood depends on these cooperatives. You have branding. Today, India is the number one producer of cow milk. So we have come such a long way from being a deficient country to being a, and that is the power of the PhD. So, or of research. So, having said that, again, after PhD, what should I be doing? This is another thing which many of my students also ask me because the future seems uncertain. Well, you have quite a few options. One is you can come into academics again, can be into teaching, or you can be a researcher all your life if you get into a research institute. A second option could be that you get a postdoctoral fellowship. And there are a lot of scholarships that are available. You just have to keep your eyes open, both within India and abroad. And those can be used. In CFTRI, we also have around 250 research students plus another 600 interns and project assistants and so on. So many of them, when they are doing their work, they hit upon an idea and they feel that it can be commercially viable. So you can become an entrepreneur or a startup. It was not possible or feasible during our day, but today youngsters have this. We have incubation facilities. Uh, I think in Mysore itself, there are a large number of institutes which will give you incubation facilities, will give you the mentorship and so on. And those can be put into place. And you can come up with solutions that, and maybe I have seen with my own eyes, a student of mine whom I taught in BSc in Yuvaraja's College as a invited lecturer. He then came to do a PhD in CFTRI, and today he's able to get crores of rupees for his own startup. He's no longer a startup, he has a huge establishment somewhere near Kunsur, and all within 10 years. He talks about traveling the world and buying a BMW and so on and so forth. So, if you are focused, if you have identified the problem properly, if you are able to address it in the right way, definitely success is there. It may be a little later than probably doing a BTech and going into the job, but in a sustained way, you will only rise. And therefore, such conferences are very, very important because everything cannot be done by one individual. You do need to collaborate. You do need to discuss. You have to hold hands. And again, I will tell you the example of CFTRI because it is an interdisciplinary organization. Food technology is not just molecular biology. It's not just botany or it's not just engineering. We need all of them if the technology has to come up. And our food engineering department is probably one of the strongest departments in the institute because engineers are extremely important during scale up for the costing, for the economics, for identifying the machines, for doing the modification of existing machines to optimize the polishing of the grain or to convert it from one ingredient to another and so on. So I think I'll not take too much of your time, but I wish you all success in your deliberations for the seminar, and let there be many more. And while you have started only within your organization, maybe you can spill over to our organization also, so that we can also identify mutual benefiting projects and work together to find solutions because you know as well as I do that our country is looking for solutions today. We don't want to just enumerate problems. Let's come up with solutions. Thank you once again for the help.
Thank you, madam, for emphasizing on research contribution of science, technology, and engineering, and also highlighting the importance of imbibing research thinking and collaboration for looking for solution-oriented research. Thank you for sharing your rich experience, madam. May I now request director and dignitaries to honor our chief guest.
Felicitate me. No? Felicitate me. I didn't know
Thank you. Thank you. Mm, mm. Thank you, Secretary, for facilitating treatment. We will now request 15 dignitaries to unveil the Council Book of Abstract 2025. Thank you, dignitaries. To express our sincere gratitude, I now call upon Associate Dean Research, Dr. Putin Narayanan, to deliver a vote of thanks.
Good morning to present here. Seeking the blessings of His Holiness Church for the Sivaji Basic and Worship. It is my great pleasure to propose the vote of thanks of these 2 days business conference to appointed. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Dr. C. Devi Annapurna Singh, the director of CPI, for being a great source of inspiration. Thank you for sharing your experience and the unwritten efforts has set a perfect course for this conference, and we deeply appreciate your time and valuable contribution. Our sincere thanks to Professor Dr. B. Suresh, Director of Interventions, Greater Sahara Technica, for his constant guidance and support for making this event reality. Thank you for initiating this platform. Definitely, the international collaborations more through this kind of conferences. Thank you, sir. Our heartfelt thanks to our respective vice chancellor, Professor Dr. K. Santosh Kumar, for being instrumental in making this conference a reality. Thank you for highlighting the key initiatives of our development. We extend our gratitude to our registrar, Professor Dr. K.C. Gandwar, sir, for his support and for ensuring the smooth organization of the season. We sincerely thank the principal of the SJCE, Professor Dr. C. Gandwar, sir. Thank you for the conference of the channel. Our thanks also go to the university officers, esteemed deans, head of the departments, and all the faculty members for their guidance and contributions for this conference. Thanks to all the research college participants and their supervisors, your enthusiasm and passion for research are the heart and soul of this conference. We eagerly look forward to the presentations for the next 2 days. We would like to express our appreciation to Dr. Sindhu, the Master of Ceremony of the evening, and to the Jesus Multimedia Center, Mr. Manjunath, for exceptional communication. Lastly, I extend my sincere gratitude to the Dean Research, Dr. V. N. Manjunath Naradia, and also the Dean Research staff members, organizing committee, and everyone who works tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event a success. Thank you once again to everyone present here. We wish you all the fruitful and inspiring time ahead. Thank you all.
It's all to the teacher. We're greatly honored to have with us today Dr. B. Suresh, Director of Education Ministry, and co-founder of KLCR, a research institute in country to deliver a keynote address.
Good research. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ
Good morning to everyone. I think we had a very nice and inspiring speech given by our chief guest who shared her life experiences and also emphasized on why research is important and why research should be taken as a career and also to pursue the outcomes of the research later on in different parts of our journey which we may take. I think this was very nicely explained by our chief guest. And today, CFTRI stands as a testimony of one of the very few public sector research laboratories which have shown lots of success continuously. So, this is because of the wonderful scientists who are working behind it. It's not just about the political will, it's not about money, it is about the scientists who are willing and the scientists who are striving to achieve these outcomes. Today, we talk of self-sufficiency of our country in different ways. So, now, the next step to moving forward for research is to understand what is good research and what is bad research. So that's why I chose this topic. It will be more general rather than any specific area of topic into it. It's more general. Why I chose this topic is when I was interacting with various faculty as well as research scholars sometimes, when we ask them, why are you pursuing this research? What is the outcome you are expecting? And how this is going to benefit anyone, what you are doing? Quite a few of them did not know. They considered doing research to get a PhD degree, which is essential for them to progress in their career or getting a job. So this was a very simple thing they had in mind, and there was no deep thinking brought into their process of understanding why they should do research and take place. I think for that it is important to build a research culture and build certain focused areas which we would like to work together, and that will help us to advance the research the way we want to move forward, and also it will help shape your careers and help shape your thoughts and go to the next step. So that is why I chose the topic good research versus bad research. So let's look into it. Let's understand. For some of those who are seniors, you may already know. So there is nothing new I'm going to say there. But for young who are registered and doing their PhD, you may find it a sort of a thought-provoking or an interesting fact for you to at least start thinking at this stage, okay, why am I doing my research? What am I going to get out of it? I think this is something you have to keep in mind. Today, as you read the newspapers, everything is about two things. One is what the US President Trump
uh, is creating every day. So everybody is worried what's going to happen. Today he has told that he is going to take over the Gaza Strip and rebuild that city and throw all the people out there. They can go to other countries. So I mean, a person of that, that position is has the audacity to say that he is going to go and throw out people living in a particular area and tell that I am going to rebuild it and do the way we are doing it. It may sound as crazy as it may sound. So if people are fighting for territory and they go on fighting, so somebody comes in the middle and he says it doesn't belong to both of you, it belongs to me. You don't have anything to fight for. It is like the same story which we have read from the schools. Two kites were fighting for the bread, and the monkey tried to do justice, and monkey ate all the bread and went away. So I think we have to keep listening and doing why these people act this way and what we do. That's one part of the story. The other story we keep reading is that AI has come. AI is doing this. DeepSeek has come into the picture. Then ChatGPT comes with a newer model. Google says they are going to introduce something else. So everybody is talking about AI, perhaps not knowing what it means to them or what it makes, except they know that AI stands for artificial intelligence, and people talk about it that it is fashionable. While coming here, I thought I would not be surprised if I saw a coffee shop written "coffee made by AI" here, and we'll all go in and take that coffee and come. There will be no uh, that AI would be something different. It will be an average Indian sitting behind the counter and making the coffee and giving it to you. But you'll be happy to see that AI is made coffee. We'll pay 100 rupees more and drink that coffee and come. The day is not far away when somebody will say, coffee is AI. That's all. So this is the world in which we are living. And okay, when we talk about these type of things that are happening, at the same time, something serious also we can see. We all know that NVIDIA was the king of the semiconductor industry. He changed the whole landscape of the processing of your data and the processing and the speed of the data from CPU to GPU. He shifted, and today we are able to see some good things happening in the world because of that. Now, the DeepSeek comes and says that I don't need so many of the GPUs of NVIDIA, and I can do it with much lesser and much smaller amount, and crashes down the giant of NVIDIA. Suddenly, they lose about several billions overnight just by the market collapsing the process. And how can a company which is uh, trying to bring this type of idea into the market claim such big things unless they have a data to support it and prove it? I think these are the issues which I am going to discuss. We can make tall claims, but do we have something to support it, or it's just we are going to move forward? Now, in this continuous environment of thing, it looks like AI is the fashionable thing to talk about, and now everybody wants to regulate AI. Whether it is the US government or whether it is the Chinese government, the Indian government, they all want to regulate AI. And it is something like this: you are got into a Formula One racing car, and after you are started and running, you are thinking of putting a seat belt. Either the car will crash or you will not be able to achieve that goals. So when you are into a Formula racing car, you put your seat belt first and then move the vehicle. But if you are going to start the car, keep moving, and then try to put a seat belt like we do in our cars, you start the car, move the seat, then you remember how to put a seat belt and you try to put a seat belt. That cannot happen in a Formula racing car. So you will be ending up straight away in much faster route than. So it is very important such newer technologies are coming in, newer processors that are coming in. We have to look at the legal issues, the ethical issues, and other things, and be ready with that. We should not be responsive. And all these things can come only from a academic institution. That is why the Western world looks at research from academia with much more seriousness than the products of big companies that come into the market. They are okay, they understand the product is important, it is valuable, it is impactful. But if the same product is authenticated by the research of an academic institution of good repute, I think they have got more confidence in the product than anything else. And so in this process, the reputation of the universities for research has grown multifold, whether it is the US or whether it's Europe or Australia or some of the exceptional universities, even in the Asian and African region, they are doing wonderful work. So it is very important for an academic institution which is identifying itself to pursue the path of research also to have a good quality research coming out of it. That will, if not today, is going to lead it to the next level. So that is the basis on which why this conference has been put in. We talk about research, maybe we submit a thesis, we publish paper because it is mandated, but then we do not know what next to be done. And that's why we said, let's start thinking about research, let's start pushing research, let research become a culture here, and we are here today. Now, moving forward, uh, I'll just put one here. At the end of this, I'm going to ask one question that will show me, that will let me know how observant you were during my talk. Okay. Uh, why does research matter to us? Why is it important for all of us? One is it pushes the boundaries of what we know, whether it is the technology you are talking about, or whether it's understanding of a disease you are talking about, or whether it is a particular process of management you are thinking about. It helps us to understand the issues and push our boundaries to the next level. That's one of the important reasons why research matters to all. Second is it tackles the world's problems. It may be like it was just told by CFTRI director who was here. She talks about the infant food, then she mentioned also about COVID and other things. It is very clearly showed that when the world has problems, they look towards the scientists to solve it and not to the politicians to solve it. So they always, the whole world looks at scientists. Whether today we are enjoying all these comforts of life, it is the work of the scientists who have brought out those technologies, those products, producers, everything like from the shoe to the mobile phone you are holding in your hands. It is all the work of a scientist. It's not a work of a politician. It's not a work of a businessman. Only the businessman or a politician has brought it out to his advantage and make profit out of it. But the scientist has been behind this to achieve these things. Then it also shapes the future. Now, let us say if you find out certain new areas of research, like what she mentioned proudly, that she could achieve this infant food problem of this thing. It is something, a legacy you are left behind. That you said, I was a part of this change which happened in the country, and I contributed a little bit in whatever you were. In COVID period, we were very feeling very happy in the hospital that we did 8 clinical trials of various vaccines and drugs simultaneously going on. We proudly claim that we were a part of the COVID eradication in the country because we were in behind the research that was going. So I think this is why the research matters. And if you have any doubt why is it research is important to you, please change that mindset. It is very important for you to understand that research is not just a part of your thesis which you are doing to get a degree. Research is not something which getting a PhD degree is not for the purpose of getting your appointment or promotion. Yes, these are all incidental. I don't say they are not important. They are incidental. But research is what you are trying to do is to achieve these objectives which I mentioned. Now, how do we define good research and bad research? Why I specifically put good research and bad research is that we should know the difference specifically. When we talk of bad research, it is not about failure. Failure is not bad research. Failure is just a finding of the research which has not come to your expectation. Your hypothesis was there, so you could not achieve that hypothesis. So that is not bad research. It's just the research expectations which you had did not come to this, so you have to modify and move forward. So If you look at good research, it has a clear purpose. Like what I said, okay, I want to do something to develop a new vaccine for cancer. It's a purpose, very clear purpose for you. Or you want to use AI technology, which will help in teaching the students a particular subject, maybe semiconductors or something which you have in mind. In a particular way, they use AI for your education. How you are going to use it? Are using AI for many other purposes, for fastening, for hastening your research work or your productivity. So many things can be there, or for reasoning. So it can be a clear purpose you should have, or using it technology for financial accounting, AI. So you have to have a very clear purpose why you are going to do it. Next is a methodology which can be rigorous and a clear path is identified. How you are going to start, what is the step you are going to begin with, and what you are going to end. And lastly, you have to have ethical standards. It's not just go somewhere, copy something, try to do it, and not acknowledge it. That is not research. Or you just change the name of one drug to another drug and do the same research. So that is not the purpose. That's okay, just a PhD you are getting. If your objective is to just get a PhD, I think then we should not talk about research. We should not join institutions which are serious about research. You should join institutions which will give money, they will give you PhD, you don't take that. But you remain where you are. I can just tell another anecdote. When I wanted to do my PhD, I went and spoke to the director of Pasteur Institute, telling him that I have this project in mind. That's what the director said. I also thought, okay, what do you want to know? So I went with a big proposal telling that I want to take the animal pancreas and then isolate the islet cells, extract the insulin from that, and then make insulin available to the people like that. I was trying to talk about increasing the production of insulin. So the director of Cancer Institute, Ram Brahman, listened to me and said that you should keep this work for your Nobel Prize, but now let's focus on your PhD. So you do some chemical compounds and we will see for antimicrobial activity, you submit your PhD. At that time, I was young and I had no idea, so I accepted it and went. Maybe if I had continued my dream, maybe it would have been difficult. Maybe I would have got that Nobel Prize also. Okay. So I think if something is, if you believe in something, I think you have to pursue the path. It may not be for your PhD, but continue to do the work, continue to do the interest which you are having, and definitely you will get the outcome. Now, of course, I took it in a very different way at that time, telling that, oh, he's telling me to finish my PhD, so I should do it the way he said. But it was a good PhD, good publications, everything was appreciated. Even Vice Chancellor, after the presentation, hosted a dinner in the university for me. So all that was done. But was it impactful? I wouldn't say. I learned some good skills. I could learn those skills and bring those experiments to my institution. I could make others do that work. That was the thing that happened. But how did it impact the society? Did I add knowledge to the research being done? I wouldn't say I was very happy with that. So that's why I'm telling good research means you have to really look at it. Now, what is bad research? You have very vague objectives. I want to develop a drug for diabetes. That's very simple. How are you going to do? I'm going to take 10 plants, extract and put an animal and see and do it. Now, is there no drug available for diabetes in the market? Or you may say, I want to develop a new AI tool which is 50% efficient than all other tools. Now, what that tool is going to do, you have to know what is there in your mind, how you are going to take it forward. Then you use methods that are not valid. Yesterday or a few days ago, I was speaking to some person who was talking about doing an experiment for reducing inflammation in arthritis. So I asked him the method which he is adopting. So the method he was telling was not for arthritis related inflammation. It was for a inflammation which you get because of the infection or some cut or wound or that. So repeatedly I asked him, but he was not convinced. Then I left it at that and said, okay, I didn't want to do it because if he has his guide and he is not willing to listen to what is there, So then it's fine. So I think that's very clear that your methodology, what you are doing, whether it's the right methodology or not. Then lack of transparency. I asked him several times, how are you going to do it? No, sir, that this chemical is there, I will do this, I will do that. Then he was very vague, and quite often, some of the theses which I see, when I ask them, did you do this work? They always will say, no, sir, I gave this data to the other company, and they did this and they gave a report, and I have incorporated it to the thesis. So what percentage of work did you do in this publication which you have made? So they said, no, I corrected the English engine. So he put his name in the, and for that matter, even his English is bad. So I think you have to be very clear when you talk of good research. I think you should know what you're doing and be able to move. Now, let us take a couple of examples of what is good research and what is bad research. And maybe I will leave it to you to think and extrapolate however it is for the next one. Now, let us take AI based, let us say computer science AI based study or do something there. Let us say a person talks about or a team talks about doing a new machine learning algorithm for zero-day cybersecurity attacks. So that way he can ensure that the system does not collapse or system does not fail and is able to prevent all those attacks. That is the theme. So what they do is they meticulously work on that concept. Their objective is very clear. They want to have a detect zero-day cyber attacks in real time. That is their objective. Very clear. It's not that I want to do something in cybersecurity. That is not the way of looking at the problem. So now the team works and they document the whole process and they allow that data to be available on transparent platforms like GitHub and others. So that way the other people can also use it, reproduce it, replicate it, and improve it also further. You may say about your my intellectual property, my publication will be stolen. What I am telling is after that. See, after you have done your publication, after you have done your impact, what you call as filed your patents, and you have to allow others to know that this is what when DeepSeek is trying to tell, I have got this platform and I have done by this method. Obviously, it is covered by its teeth all the laws which are associated with that. Then only it is coming out to the open source. It is not going to come out straight away and tell this. They have covered themselves well. So cover yourself, but then make it available for validation. Then you should try to see whether you are benchmarking yourself with some of the other cybersecurity tools that are available or platforms that are available, and see also how this is benefiting at the end of the day. This is a good research. Why? Because there is a real purpose here. Methodology is transparent, how they wanted to do, and they respect the ethical guidelines because when they took the real-time data, they are anonymizing. They are not allowing to be exploited, the real-time data are not exploited, so they are anonymized. So you are following the ethical guidelines that are there. And lastly, they provide thorough evaluations and benchmark it and try to provide. So this is a typical example of a good research which you want to pursue. Now, what would be a bad research now? Somebody says, I want to create a new AI, which I mentioned, with 50% more efficient. And when they talk about this thing, they would have gathered data. They will never share the code, source code. They will never share the source code and refuse peer review. They will refuse that. No, I won't show it secret. I can't say that. Now, what about data? They will not tell you where they got the data. They might have stole the data. They would have not they would have not kept the security of the person who is there. So these are the challenges in this type of bad research when we talk about. If you are not able to safeguard the ethical principles behind the research work you are doing, that's a bad research. It's a very simple philosophy. And this research is opaque because there is no clear objective. You cannot say, I am going to make 50% efficient AI. AI in what? What type of efficiency? Where? What type of performance you are going to bring about? Then the claims which they are making are unsubstantiated because they are not available with benchmarks or not they are able to compare. And lastly, the ethical boundaries are unclear. Did they take the data from the source, anonymize it, and make sure that all securities are maintained? So ultimately, the work doesn't meaningfully advance the field. So it's a bad research. Just a typical example. Now let us move away from computer science to another field, let us say semiconductors. Okay. Now, a semiconductor team says we are going to create a novel transistor architecture. This is not a. I have tried to learn all these things myself so that I can connect with you. I have tried to understand what these mean. So, understanding a new science is not difficult even for me at this age. So, when I talk about FinFET, I went and found out what is FinFET before I come and talk to you. So I am giving the examples here because I didn't want to tell about pharmacy and life sciences examples because you may or may not connect with what I am trying to tell or emphasize. But so I just brought those examples here. Now they want to make a new FinFET transistor design for improving performance of the next generation chips. I understand that these FinFET, these semiconductor chips which they are making, they prevent the what you call the power leakage and at the nodes. That's what is the explanation given. When I try to find out what is this FinFET, they said these wafers which are there, they will prevent the power leakage and be able to do it. Maybe Dr. Madheswamy will be able to explain more about it. But they were able to manufacture the prototypes and they studied the electrical characteristics of the chip they made. And then they went along comparing with the industry standards and published it also. And so that others can reproduce and see whether it is doable or not. So definitely this is an example of good research because there was a clear problem. They said they wanted to increase the transistor's efficiency at advanced technology nodes. They knew what they wanted it at the end. Then a robust experimental method was planned. Then they shared their findings, and industry level challenge was mentioned. So I think this is something very important for every field. I think this can be applied to biotechnology, polymer science, chemistry, wherever you want. It is the same principles are applicable there. Now, what is the bad research in this same area? If I have to give an example, you claim that you have got such wonderful material which is better than everything else in the material side. That is, I have a miracle material which will boost semiconductor performance by 1000%. So you are claiming that. Now, what is that material? Where you got that? How was that validated? What was the thing? They are not able to do it. How many tests did you carry out? They would have just done one test and say, I have got it 1000%. Just like what director mentioned, that she took the standard also and then the other material which she extracted, tried to compare and found that it was the best performance. So now is that reproducible again and again? So then it is perfectly the right way to look at it. There is no replicable methodology. It is unified and sensational claims are there. Sorry, unverified and sensational claims are there. And incomplete or biased data is there and no recognized response. So you can see here both the examples which I gave, they are of the same method. Now, this is where the question comes. You have to build purpose into your research. What do you want to do which can help advance the field where you are working on? It can be anything. You want to do a new chair, if there is a clear idea for you, how you want to do it, how much effort you are going to put in, what is the material you are going to use, and how that chair is going to make a difference in the cognitive comfort of the individual, and how that material is going to be sustainable, what is going to be the durability. If these objectives are laid down for you very clearly and you are working towards that, yes, there is a purpose you are trying to achieve in this so purpose and transparency, these are the very, very important factors in any research. If you are not able to publish your research work, it is no good. That means you are afraid to bring your research to the public domain because people can find that you are either copying it or it's not standard of standard and it is something which is irrelevant to the field. So they will just try to do it. So be very careful, build purpose and transfer it into the system. So ultimately, what I would like to say is when you're starting research, start with a well-defined question. Follow robust methods and stay honest about your own process. So I can give again a lot of examples in my journey of research at postgraduate and others and how it was important for me to move forward. And similarly, I get 7 research graduates, master's graduates, even beyond my field. Dhanraj will be testimony to that. Dhanraj is in biotechnology PhD. I was not a biotechnology. Biotechnology is master's, but that was not my field. But we still sat together and worked on the research project and submitted on time. So it is very important that how we follow it all comes down to that. Are you doing with the purpose? Are you knowing the proper method? And your practice. This is very important. Now, during this journey, there will be challenges. It's not going to be easy. Let us say these challenges may be something will be related to your idea, or it may be even related to your work. You may say, my HOD is not permitting to use the equipment. So that may be a challenge. It may look simple, but it's a challenge. You have to overcome that to achieve the goals which you are there. Or you may say your attendant is closing the lab at 5 o'clock and going away, sir. Now I can work only after 5 o'clock. How do I do? That's also a problem. I'm not telling only a research problem is a problem. Problem can be anything. So you have to overcome those challenges. So for that, you have to collaborate with that attendant. Arey Baba, I'm doing my research. So can you help me? You will be making a big difference to me. You will understand, oh, he's doing something. You say, okay, I'll get coffee for you also and stay back and do the work for you. So I think you have to look at it. It may be a collaboration between department. It can be a collaboration between the other researchers in the field, medical and technology. And quite often when I see technology being produced in health area, the initial input from the health segment has not come. It was just an idea which was there in the technologists when we started working. And when we try to go to validate, the health provider wants entirely something different. So he would have not gone into the direction which is required. So you'll be losing your time again. And mentorship and peer support is very important, and ethical vigilance is there. So I think this is something you have to keep in mind to overcome all your challenges, and then you'll be able to move forward. For each of these 5 code of conduct, I can speak 1 hour each, but I don't want to take your time for that. In any research, scrupulousness that should be there. That means I will do only by the procedure that has to be done. Like you mentioned about the distilled water. Quartz, it should be only distilled in quartz. She could have used any other distilled water also. What is there? It's only for PhD, it's not for a human being. What does it matter? She could have used it. So we used to fight in our university when I was studying my master's. We had to go and keep our buckets with labels there. Means buckets, cans with labels there. Who will get the distilled water? So we used to write our name and keep it, and the attendant used to fill one by one all those distilled water. There used to be a fight for that. So it is very important scrupulousness in our approach, reliability, verifiability, impartiality, and independence. Independence in the sense both the guide and student should have freedom to express what they feel. It is not that, okay, you do by the way I am telling. So that's what do you think? You are better than me, you are more knowledgeable than me. So that's where we lose the independence which is we are talking about. So I think it is very important the guide and student have that relationship where they are able to question each other. They are able to find answers together, and then it will be good to move forward. I can always remember my professor Desai was in pharmacology. He was a good teacher, good advisor, but he will not be physically present for doing the lab work which I have to do. So I had to learn and do my lab. Then I used to go and report to him. Then he'll ask some pertinent questions. That have you done this? Have you done this? Then again I'll come back and do it. So sometimes an advisor need not come and handhold you in your lab and try to take you, you do this step, do this step. Asking the right questions itself is enough for advisor to push the student in the right direction. So that is how I learned all the skills. Whereas my colleagues who were waiting for their mentors to come and help them in the lab, they only did their masters, but they did not learn the thinking ability or the creative ability which they had to go with that. So I think it's very important for us. Now, I'll not go again too much into that. For success in your research, you should remember the rule of ABC. A comes afterwards, I will tell you. ABC rule is there. That is adaptability. You should be able to adapt to the situation, results, and move on with modification. Benchmark yourself with what is happening, and there should be continuous learning and improvement in whatever you do. That should be something for you to keep in mind. If you want to achieve success, which we are talking about it, then you should have ABC approach to your work. And remember, adaptability turns challenges into stepping stones. If you don't adapt, you say, no, this is a research work, I'm going to do like this only. It is going to be repeated. So many people have done, they have done this, then you will have something, but it may not be of worth. When you are adaptable, you are able to change and you are able to move forward, and then it makes a difference. Now, lastly, I would like to conclude and look at what is required here. So research is not about you are getting a thesis in time and going out. It is about creating knowledge. Research is not about something which is going to get you a job, but it is for a better and broader benefit to the society. I think you have to keep that in mind when you are doing the research. So a little step which you put in may help advance so many sciences which are there, and this path continues to be. And if you want to pursue research once, like Dr. said, if you achieve success once, you will never would like to give it up again, because the intoxication which you get after success of the research which you have done is much higher than any other intoxicant in the world. That success intoxicant is the highest intoxicant which is there. So I think that is the once you there is a taste of success that people talk about. That is what is important here. Now you should keep in mind every research you do has make a will make a difference. Like every line of code which you may do in your computer science, or every wafer which you may fabricate in your semiconductor lab, or every data you might have collected one set is definitely going to help the potential of shaping the future. I think you should keep this in mind when you're talking about your research. Then I would like to end here. I do not know how many of you see news or read news. Recently, in the budget announcement of the in February, this first week, which was there, the Prime Minister in his address said, all of you were talking about tax cuts and tax benefits, but you missed out the most important things in the budget. And he spoke about double AI in that budget speech. What is that double AI? He said one is the artificial intelligence. So a whole set of fund is set aside in a mission mode for AI research. So India has got big ambitions in that, and the lots of money is available. Even yesterday, Dr. Srivastava was there with us in the university in our research advisory council. He was mentioning the Niti Aayog has set aside big funds, thousands of crores for research in AI, and they'll be happy to fund. Only thing should be the proposal and the concept, the idea should be there. And another point which is there for noting for you is that this time the Department of Science and Technology's budget, which used to be 5 to 6,000 crores only, has been kept to 30,000 crores. It has been increased several times. So money is not a problem. If you have a good idea, good project to go forward, money will come to you. So I think it is up to us to capitalize on. What we talked about two AIs, double AI is first is of course the artificial intelligence, and second we talked about the aspirational India. He said that India has got this aspiration India. Aspiration India, I think there are about 700 districts which are there in the country, out of which 50%, 350 have been identified as aspiration districts. In the 350 districts, they have identified again what each district needs to be strengthened with. And if your research is driven towards social outcome of those things, your money is yours. So if you are just going to work on some hypothesis, vague hypothesis which you are talking about, then they may or may not consider that. But if you are going to work towards the goal of aspirational India, I think that's it. So while we are all talking about AI, our Prime Minister talked about aspirational India. Then, of course, artificial intelligence is always there. And then I talked about in the beginning about the AI is also for an average Indian. I then started looking and amusing myself with what other AIs are there. So there is what we call as an ambiguous intelligence. Like if your research is not worth anything, so that is known as ambiguous intelligence. So that is also AI. So you have to fit in which AI you are falling, whether you are falling in the aspirational intelligence or whether you are falling into the uh, artificial intelligence or you are falling into an ambiguous intelligence is something you have to give. And the last one is what I said was the aspirational intelligence. What is this aspirational intelligence we are talking about? It is about AI taking all the data sets which are there available to you and the learning it has made to project what is going to happen. That is possible now in the aspirational intelligence platforms. That is, like you have got data which leads you to a particular point of reaching. Whether you reach further goals or not, this AI tool or the aspirational intelligence tool can help you to achieve. So this is where the world is producing. It's like a science fiction movie. You sit today and suddenly you're finding everything is changing. I won't be surprised. The day will not be there. When I ask my wife to cook, she'll say, use the AI and get the food on your table. It will come to you. So I think the world is changing so fast. And in fact, when Dr. Madheswamy came yesterday talking about the research program we are running, the conference we are running, I said, you are out. Because what we planned 3 months ago in the semiconductor industry, which is happening, today is outdated because we do not know whether GPU is going to be still the game changer. Now, what I understand from some of the reports which I have read is NVIDIA is coming with a newer type of supercomputer which will beat all the supercomputers. It is having a combination of GPUs and other tools which is manufacturing. It is just going to be a laptop you can put it in your handbag and take home. I don't know what will happen to your current computer in that case. That is going to come. How fast or how slow it is going to be when it compared to the this new computer which is coming. It's just like a science fiction movie. So if you are delayed even by a day in what you are doing, you are outdated now in this present world. So focus what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve, and be fast about it. There is no tomorrow in research. There is no tomorrow in research. You have to do it today and see that it is out, and then only you'll be in the position which is there. With this, I would like to thank you all for your attention today. I hope I can use some of the technologies which is there in the life sciences. I can maybe do some gene editing and take away a little bit of those genes which are responsible for procrastination or laziness and all that, and push you only towards research. But unfortunately, it's not ethical. I cannot do that. But I'm sure your aspirational intelligence and your own personal aspirations will drive you towards doing good research. My best wishes to you. Thank you very much. You said that
Thank you for your Thank you for your insightful address on Google's advantage sector. I'm sure scholars and research community here will aim to apply ABC rule in their research journey with high priority on ethics to contribute towards the aspiration of India. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Honorable VC and Registrar to honor our director.
You said you were asked question like so the question is simple. All these images which I put there, they were AI generated by me. One image is not AI generated. Which one is that? That's right. That also is AI generated. That's right. First try. First try. School of Printing. Right? School of Printing stuff. This starting here. No, again, see, it's a tool which can be used for anything, any purpose which you use. I have used it for sharing my thoughts and creating visualization of my thinking. It is possible. So I think you should understand if this is the smallest effort which I could use and try to bring it. This all were generated in, let me say, less than 24 hours. Right? So that is a case where you are all technologists. You are all well versed in this use of tools and technology and all that. You should be able to create wonders here. I think the whole campus should be uh, running on intelligent system across. I think that's what I would like to do.
We will now take a short break for refreshments and networking. This is a great opportunity to connect with your colleagues, exchange ideas, and social collaboration. Please return to respective venues as training session please to venue at 11:50 in the respective venue. 11:50. And call for not registered, complete the registration process, through complete the registration process, and then we go to the respective session venue. Thank you.
What your views on that?